Good evening, everyone. I'm Tanisha from Team Hack2skill, and I extend a warm welcome to you all. Thank you for joining us today, especially on Saturday evening, for the exclusive webinar being conducted for the 16th edition of GlobalLogic's innovation platform 30 Hacks. The topic for today's webinar is Introduction to 30 Hacks and Digiverse Exploration. Before we jump into the session, I would like to introduce you all to our esteemed speaker panel with us from the GlobalLogic team. We have with us Ruchi Mahana Chaudhary, AVP Marketing Communication at GlobalLogic, Nitin Unni, Director Engineering at GlobalLogic, and Ninad Pandey, Senior Principal Architect Technology at GlobalLogic. I welcome you all on behalf of the team Hack2skill and thank you for taking us time and joining us today. With this, I would hand over the mic to Ruchi to take the session forward. Ruchi, over to you.
Thank you so much, Tanisha, and Hack2skill team for organizing, and for everybody who's given us a Saturday. Hello. And GlobalLogic team promises not to 45 minutes. In fact, we want to bring a lot of exciting things on for you. We want to talk about the hackathon. We want to talk about what you can expect, what you should do. We will explain the theme for 30 hacks this time, and we will talk more about the Digiverse. So too bad I can't see faces, Tanisha, but I can see all of you, which is comforting. But we'd love if you guys can make this interactive. Everybody who's watching us live on YouTube and LinkedIn and everywhere else, please keep dropping in your comments. I have one eye on the comment box along with Tanisha and Hack2skill team, and we'll try to answer anything at all that you want to know. Nitin, myself, and Ninad are here to answer anything and everything under the earth that pertains to GlobalLogic and to 30 hacks. So feel free to shoot questions anytime, and we'll take pauses midway and talk about it. Next 10 minutes, I will try and introduce and give you a little bit of history and background of 30 hacks and what is GlobalLogic 30 hacks really all about, and how did this concept start? How did we think about this, and what does it entail? So let me bring up the very infamous screen of virtual times. Sharing screens is infamous but needed. We'll get to know more things if I start sharing screens. So just okay, till this loads and comes up. Can anybody in the stream confirm if you can see my screen right now? Nitin, can you?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Showing up.
Thank you. Thank you. So once again, everybody listening in, thank you and welcome to GlobalLogic 30 Hacks. We are very, very excited to be hosting our 16th edition of the hackathon this year. And this session is completely dedicated to talking about GlobalLogic 30 Hacks and what the platform is all about. So here we go. The theme this year is Digiverse and the exploration of the Digiverse. And I have two very, very talented colleagues with me to talk about it. So I will not touch the tech part. I will give you a background of 30 hacks, and Nitin and Ninad will talk about Digiverse, exploration, double tapping on tracks, and really talking about what do you do when in a hackathon, right? So let's get to know GlobalLogic 30 hacks a little bit better. So what is 30 hacks really? 30 hacks was an idea we thought of some 7 years back when the marketing team thought and the innovation team thought and the business and engineering team thought what different can we do for people across the ecosystem technology. We thought of giving them a 24-hour of non-stop coding codathon, and we thought of a name called 30 hacks, which means for 30 hours you are locked in a room in a physical space when we used to do physical hackathons, and just coding and thinking of new prototypes. In a virtual setup, we do 24 hours of coding and 6 hours of evaluation, and that's how we call it, really 30 hours and 30 hacks. So the key really is to turn your idea into a working prototype. I was already reading a comment from Rahul. I think that I have a telecom idea and it did not work the last year. Can I reuse that idea? I love the enthusiasm. There were questions pouring in even before we started the webinar. So we're going to answer all of that. Rahul, just hang in there. We're going to answer your question. So 30 hours, 30 hours of non-stop coding, 30 hours of entertainment, 30 hours of, we try to make this very engaging. I will spill some beans and talk about, we have a stand-up comedian lined up for you. We have some lovely gifts lined in for people who make it to the top 50 and then top 25. There are going to be stuff being sent to your houses. So it's going to be very, very entertaining experience and all. For people who've not seen 30 Hacks a lot, go to the YouTube page of GlobalLogic, log in and look at the 30 Hacks playlist, and you guys will see the fun the teams will have had, in the past hackathons. Even in a virtual setup, in the last 2 years, the hacks have been, knock on wood, really, really amazing. We've seen some amazing ideas, and ultimately it just boils down to how awesome your idea is. And if you win, that moment is amazing. The adrenaline in that moment is amazing. And I wish everybody who's nominated, we have hundreds of registration. It's very, very overwhelming. So thank you, everybody who's nominated. We wish you all the very best to go ahead and put your best foot forward. What is really the history of 30 Hacks? For anybody who doesn't know, like I said, we started a few years back. So 2014 is when we did our first hackathon. Then to now, we've really experimented with a lot of tech. So we've done a hackathon on digital disruption. We've done a hackathon on machine learning, AI, drive, analyze, predict. We've literally touched every sphere of technology. Our last hackathon was around dark, the dark technology. And this time we are exploring Digiverse. So I think this is also an opportunity for all of you, really, may the best man win, but really to come up and, put on your thinking hats and think about some new ideas and how you can experiment with technology. And you will have a pool of GlobalLogic mentors at your disposal. You will have a pool of architects, very senior folks, very experienced folks at your disposal. So if I were you and they would do a hackathon in marketing, I would definitely participate, just to see if there is any newness I can get to my tech stack. So again, this is just a quick history and background of 30 Hacks. I do want to build some excitement. So there is one video I want to show all of you, and this is really the hackathon I spoke about last year, the dark hackathon. So I'm going to play this, and I hope you all can hear it. Let's watch what happened last year and look forward to what is going to happen this year. So I'm just going to play this video out for all of you. Tanisha, if you cannot hear the audio, please stop me in the middle. All right.
All excited I am, a bit nervous as well because 30 hours is the limit.
I'm really excited for this hackathon. This is the first hackathon I'm participating and just wanted to wish all the teams best of luck.
3, 2, and 1! Let the hack begin!
amazing. I think every year it just keeps getting bigger and more interesting, and I love that the excitement is still as great as it was in the early days.
At the onset, warm welcome to the session, everyone.
And to see the passion in each and everyone here. More than what I look for, that leadership, and each one of you stood up, and that's all I can aspire for.
HR मुझे बोलती कि गौरव अपनी सैलरी किसी को मत बताना, ये इंटेग्रिटी इशू है। और मैंने कहा सुनो, जिस सैलरी पे मैंने ज्वाइन करा है ना, मेरे में कोई इंटेग्रिटी बची नहीं है।
मेरे मन को ये इशारा
पंछी पर उड़ता फिर मस्त गगन में
दिल को याद
It was very exciting because the teams were just overflowing with creativity. So we featured some very cool technologies, got additional insights into novel uses for blockchain, AI, and AR, and some quantum computing as well.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the winner.
It was unexpected that it all felt like a dream when the results were announced, as we were against the best teams of GlobalLogic. And I believe that all the 100 plus teams who participated and all the members who were the part of 30Hacks are the real ones.
Wasn't it truly inspiring to watch to go through this whole experience of 30 hours of non-stop hacking, participating in the talent show, and I'm most forward to 30 hacks every we will see you next year. Till then, we want you to be safe, happy, be positive, keep hacking, keep having fun in life.
I think every team who participated should take a bow on this one. Sorry, not us. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 minute and come back here. So, all right. So I have 2 more slides to cover, and then we'll come back to picking some questions up. I'm seeing a lot of questions in the comment box. I'll take 2 more minutes. We started a little late. So I'm going to give time back to the rest of the speakers. I want to talk about the eval criteria for this year and the theme for this year. And then Nitin and Ninad can double tap on the Digiverse a little bit. So I'm going to bring my screen back up. Thank you guys. There are a lot of queries, and can I submit? I have a lot of questions. Tanisha, can I request you to gather some of these questions till I'm speaking about the next slides? Format of submissions. All right, guys, everything you're asking, I'm going to talk about it. Let me just actually bring up my screen. People are like, cut to chase. We want to know what to do. Enough of context setting. Okay, I will. Can please one of you confirm if you can start to see my screen? Nitin, Ninad, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, it's good.
Yes, visible.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So what happens this time is really we've kept Digiverse as a theme. And these are our tracks, guys. So we have 5 tracks in focus, and you can submit your ideas in these 5 tracks. Hack2skill team tells us that a lot of you have already submitted your ideas, but a lot of you are yet to submit. So people who are yet to submit or people who want to edit, the tracks in focus are automotive, healthcare, telecom, industry, and finance. You have to pick a track to submit an idea. You cannot submit out of these tracks. Your tracks have to be under one of these. Your ideas have to be under one of these tracks or themes. So what happens from there further is something Ninad and Nitin can really help you build. But these are the tracks in focus. These are the key dates to remember, guys. Nominations are open right now. They close on 15th, which is week. The idea Tuesday. You still have some time to build that idea, right? Just make sure you submit your idea. 15. We're not going to extend the timeline. Sure. Our top 25 we announced one, and the day of the hack.
Tanisha, I think there is some problem from Ruchi's end.
Yes, I think so. There's some problem with Ruchi's end. So, can we answer some questions if you don't mind, Nad and Nitin? Meanwhile, Ruchi joins back.
That'll be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Yes. So let's start with the first questions first. Okay, there were questions even before the session started. Okay. So there's a question from Judy. Do we have any specific requirement in healthcare, or the innovation can be for anyone, like hospital management, patients, doctors? Yeah, that's the question that's popping on the screen.
Sure. Ninad, you want to take that, or I can kind of give an overview? The short answer is no. I don't think we have any specific requirement.
I'm sorry, guys. My internet just snapped. Am I back?
Yes, Ruchi, you are. So when you were gone, we were just answering a question.
Please carry on.
Yes.
So did I cover the eval criteria, or did my internet snap before that?
We could not.
Yeah, I think it was during the dates. Yeah, it was during the dates part. So I think we can go back right there. We'll just quickly finish this question.
Please finish the question. Yeah. Please, Nitin, go ahead.
Sure. I'll answer start and then Nina do add on. I think the short answer is no. There is no specific requirement as such in healthcare. And when we talk about the areas, you'll kind of get to know that more. So also the tech is open to you in terms of what are the areas that you want to look at, right? So basically, it's not very hard and fast.
Right. So anything related to healthcare, right? Remote health is there, right? Patient management, but I mean it has to be in the Digiverse theme and something innovative. For example, like hospital billing system may not be a good fit over here because that problem is already solved. But anything related to healthcare can do, and there is no specific requirement.
Okay. I am going to quickly cover what was left, and I'm really sorry about this again. That's why I was talking. I was like, people are not. My co-panelists are drastically quiet. Okay. Right here. Let me know. I think this is up now. This is actually the most important slide. The eval criteria is actually the most important thing. So I want to make sure this goes out to all of you. I'm assuming this is visible. Nitin, Ninad, if not, please stop me. So the eval criteria is really It's okay. Thank you, Nitin. So, innovation, business idea implication, solution approach, architecture, working demo of the idea. Very, very important. I want to spend 30 seconds and talk about this. In the end, you will get 5 minutes to present your idea, 5 minutes to really show your working demo, and also talk about the winning idea. So, a hackathon is defined by the kind of working demo you bring out. So make sure at the end of 30 hours, your idea is no more an idea, it's converted into a working prototype. That's what really, really matters when you do a hackathon. So just wanted to call out that those 5 minutes are going to be really critical, and along the way we'll prep all of you. But just these are all the different criterias. If you visit the Hack2skill website, you will get all of these, guys. By the way, you will get access to all of these. You can double tap on all of these, read about all of these, send your queries to us. We're happy to answer anything. But yes, if I want to create a winning idea, I would really map it to these. So on that note, let me stop sharing and come back to this screen. And Nitin is going to really go deep and talk about what really is Digiverse. I don't know how many of you understand Digiverse, but when we were thinking of a theme, we were really confused about what does Digiverse entail and what is GlobalLogic's view. So do we have questions, Tanisha, or do you want Nitin to pick it up and complete the presentation?
Ruchi, I think you can just complete the presentation first, and then we can answer all the questions together. Or if you want to go the other way, that's also fine.
I actually see some questions which are related to this. So, Nitin and Ninat, please help me here. Is the criteria same for all rounds? Anything around the eval criteria, guys? There is only going to be one evaluation. The top 50 Hack2skill team is going to decide on the same criteria. On the jury round also, it's the same criteria. On the top 25 also, it's the same criteria. But you only present to the jury if you're top 25. Hack2skill team will be judging you on these criteria, and if they need to call you and speak to you about your idea, they will do that. So, same. And Ninad, there are a lot of questions on what if I want to develop something that combines two technologies, automotive, digital cockpits. My God. So, Ninad, do you want to answer right now, or do you want to wait till the end of the presentation?
No, I think we can do it right away. So for the question, like where it is asked, like what if it is covering two technologies, that is perfectly fine. That will be accepted. But while evaluating, I think the inclination will be evaluated in terms of what covers it more. And to be on the lighter side, there can be a single price for that, right? So it's open. Like if your multiple technologies are covered, multiple verticals are covered, that should be good too. Then I think speaking about the automotive stuff, right? So digital cockpit is the need to solution required for it. Yeah. So as I said, there is no specific requirement, right? So whatever you feel from the automotive, right? Like the recent trend happening in the automotive in terms of new gen digital cockpits and some sort of new gen instrumentation cluster. Whatever you feel, right, makes sense in that is perfectly welcome. If it is an end-to-end solution, that's well and good. And one other thing that you have to remember, even though your solution you are planning to have an end-to-end solution, 30 years may not be sufficient for you to cover that end-to-end solution. So idea here is like you can try to take it to some sort of logical level so that you can show some working demo of some of the part of it, and then should be able to explain how that will be expand to bigger end-to-end solution. That is also good, because 30 years is really short time where everything entirely where some hardware dependencies are there may not be possible to show. So in short, what you are mentioning about the digital cockpit end-to-end, it's not required, but if you can show it, if you can project it, how it will evolve, what is future look like, that will welcome. That will really add some weightage for the juries.
Thanks, Ninad. So I think Ruchi has dropped again. So
Right. So there is one more question I would like to take. It's about like telecom, right? So the question is, I am confused about what should be proposed in telecom. What exactly it is we are looking. So again, we are not looking for any specific problem. We answered that earlier also. But answering to your question, right? What can apply? So today, with the advent of 5G and some sort of mixed reality or extended reality with metaverse and digiverse, telecoms have to play a lot of role there, right? So here it will be interesting to understand what are the different ideas that we can see that where it fits in the telecom, whether that goes at ISV, or maybe that benefits some telecom in terms of leveraging their connectivity and other things. For example, some of the things would be a remote collaboration using the extended reality and other things.
Thanks, Sinat, for taking up that question. Would you mind if I go one by one? Because there are some questions that we left till way before the session started. So I'll just pick one by one. Rani Roy asks, "Can I get sample idea which can help me understand what's the level everybody is expecting?"
Okay. So
Yeah,
can
I
you
mean,
guys hear me
see,
okay?
I mean,
I think there are some internet
yeah,
issues
go ahead, Nitin.
everywhere.
Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I think when we probably take the rest of the slides, you can see that. But just to add on to what Ninad said, right? See, essentially, 30 hacks, you have 24 hours to build on a problem, right? Before that, you're looking at an overall solution idea. So the way you look at a problem statement is, okay, what is the largest solution you're trying to solve? And then in the 24 hours, what is one of those use cases that you can probably develop, right? Which can show that, okay, you really have the understanding in terms of how to solve it. So that's the way that you're looking at it. So for example, if you want to look at field service support, right, as a specific area within either automotive or industrial. So one thing you could look at is, okay, what is a mobile application that you could develop with certain amount of augmented reality that can show a particular use case of how a problem can be solved with AR, and then you bring the overall context with respect to how that will solve the larger problem in the specific space, right, in terms of field service support. So that's the way I would look at it from a sample use case. So think about it from that perspective, implement what you can do in 24 hours, but create your idea based on what the overall solution should look like.
Nitin, Ninad, I don't know if you answered this. People have asked questions on, do we want to present codes? Yes, guys, your code dumps will be needed to review. Ninad, you want to quickly respond to that?
Right. So we'll cover that, but since we are touching that question, so answer is yes, and a working demo and code dump will be required, because we'll do a quick sort of review. It's not be a code review per se, but a quick look at it about some sort of how it is done and etc. But Ruchi, what will the IP of that code?
So the IP lies with whoever is developing. We're not keeping the intellectual property lies with the developer. So guys, all of your ideas are your IP. All of your codes are your IP. We're not going to take ownership. This is an external hack only. There might be a team or two from GlobalLogic, but you're not going to see any GlobalLogic team. So Ninad, I hope we are all aligned on that, right? With the IP lies with the team who's developing it. We've always believed in that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nitin, can we start? I want to make sure you both cover because your parts are really important. So Nitin, let's start yours and let's pick up questions again in the end.
Sure. Sure. Ruchi, do you want to share the screen or you want me to do that?
I can do it for you, Nitin, if you want.
Share it. That'll be perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
I'll do it. Just 1 second. Okay. I'm muting myself and just sharing my screen.
Thanks. Yeah, it's great to see the enthusiasm. I think lots and lots of comments even before we get to what we want to talk about. So that's really great. So yeah, I think a lot of you had asked questions about, okay, what is the Digiverse? How are we really bounding what this hack is about, right? So, and you already saw in terms of we're keeping it pretty open. But from our perspective, right, wanted to talk about how GlobalLogic perceives the Digiverse. You've heard a lot of terms, at least of late, around metaverse, omniverse, and so on, right? Especially with the amount of buzz that is happening there. But we are trying to look at Digiverse as kind of a building block of all the various digital technologies that can enable some of these things that you hear as buzz nowadays. So the very first thing is around the metaverse, right? But the way we really look at it is many of these are about convergence. So what are the convergence of different technologies that is helping shape these type of industries as they are moving forward? So if you look at the metaverse, essentially it is convergence of the virtual world with the physical world. So you have obviously heard of AR, which is augmented reality, which is not a very new technology, but a lot of advances have been happening in it. VR, or virtual reality, is something that is more completely virtual. AR is where you're building in the physical along with it. And mixed reality is something where that is really coming together, right? So for example, if you think about Pokemon Go, that is an example of a mixed reality application. So again, from a metaverse or a combination of virtual and physical perspective, it is a convergence that is happening. So if you can see the diagram on the right side, there are various elements of the metaverse that really enable something like this to happen, right? And they span across a lot of areas. So you think about digital currency, you think about non-fungible tokens, or you think about how a particular screen should behave so that multiple people can come together and then be able to look at both the virtual and the physical. All those aspects come together in the digiverse of social media, for example, right? So here, if you see the industries that are impacted from our perspective around this 30 hack, you can think about the work and enterprise. I talked about an example of field service support. So there are a lot of use cases that can kind of benefit over there. If you look at retail, fashion, again, immersive commerce comes in and so on, right? So this is one axis. If you look at convergence of the AR, VR, and MR technologies that kind of give a foundation for the metaverse. If you can move to the next slide, Ruchi. Yeah. And if you then look at another axis, right? If you look at from an industry perspective or an industrial and a factory perspective, there is a lot of convergence that is happening today around the two very disparate worlds of information technology and operations technology. So that is another buzz that you would see quite a lot nowadays. IT is around a lot of typical systems that were earlier classified as IT. So things like your ERPs, your CRMs, your manufacturing execution systems that stay at the factory. And then there is the other world, which is the OT world, which is all operational technology. So things that actually make the factory work, aspects like PLC, SCADA, and so on. And now with IoT as a foundational layer, or the Internet of Things that is really powering a lot of these connectivities to happen, there is this convergence that is coming in. So IT into OT into IoT is what large industries like Hitachi, which we are a part of, is really looking at. And this is impacting significantly the industries like energy, manufacturing, industrial, aerospace, automotive, right? So some of the outputs of that are things like digital twin, where you can actually create an entire digital virtual replica of your either your factory or your grid and so on, right? So digital twin is a very good output of convergence that is happening. Similarly, AI/ML solutions which are lying on top of digital twin, or if you look at how data scales between all of these various layers, are again outputs that come out of this convergence. So the takeaway here is that Digiverse, you can see how some of the use cases as you're thinking about it comes across, right? You can look at digital twin as a particular larger solution, and maybe you can look at a particular smaller use case of digital twin, which could form a unique aspect from how you bring in an idea. So that's an example of how you could look at how the relationship with the Digiverse can happen. Moving on to more industries, if you can go to the next slide, Ruchi. So it's not just only restricted to automotive or industrial, right? There is also convergence that is happening in the fintech space. So and what really you see in the fintech space is a lot of convergence that's happening between financial services, what were traditionally financial services, and business services, which are more around retail and so on, right? So if you see that interesting heat map on the right side, there were several companies like Shopify and Lightspeed, which are predominantly SaaS solutions, right? So they are essentially retail e-commerce front ends. But as you see the capabilities that they have continued to be building, they're moving a lot into the payment space and financial space, and the other way around as well, right? So companies that were predominantly having their DNA as fintech, like Square or PayPal and so on, as you can see the diagram, a lot of their newer capabilities that they're building is on business services, like how do they really have a point of sale software, how do they get into loyalty, marketing, and so on. So that's an example of convergence of business services with financial services, which forms again an underpinning for what we are really terming as a Digiverse. So kind of in summary, right, Digiverse is the universe of all the various digital technologies that can enable convergence to come together between different parts of an industry or between one industry to the other. So in this case, like buy now, pay later, or buy online, pay in store, your micro lending. I saw some comments around DApp applications with so all those also form kind of part of the convergence. So in summary, Digiverse that we kind of are visualizing, while its underpinning is around how you can look at AR, VR, and ML, right? So it's a very enable future digital transformation of an industry. So that's a quick kind of 5-10 minute summary of how we are visualizing the digital transformation and how we are setting the boundary around this hackathon. Back to you, Ruchi.
Thanks. Is Nitin breaking up only for me, guys? Is breaking up for all of you a little bit?
Yes, a little bit
A little bit?
disturbance from your
Okay.
side.
Okay, that's fine. We could get more or less of it, Nitin, so don't worry about it, but just okay, Ninad, I'm just looking at the questions. Is there anything pressing that I want to answer? Apart from cash prizes, what are the other rewards? We're going to send Red Bull to your houses, guys, and t-shirts, and my team is going to kill me, but fridge magnets, and that's it. And what are the other rewards? You're going to see stand-up comedians perform, and I can't reveal more. Okay, my ideas around automation of hospital lab management. I think Ninad, you answered this, right? The hospital.
Yes.
Yeah, you already answered this. Theme automotive, you already answered this. What should be the telecom ID? You already answered this. I'm a fresher. Can I participate? Yes, Priyanka Sharma, definitely you can participate. There is no, you need to be a team of 2 to 4, and you can definitely participate. Good. Ninad, we can cover your portion real
Yep.
quickly. Do you want me to share the screen, Ninad, or you want to rely on yourself? Whatever you want.
You can share.
I'll share?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll be talking about the experience in terms of, this will cover some phases and I would say some tips and tricks that we should follow. And this is based out of some of the experience that we have been, gathered as an organizing team, and based on a lot of challenges that we also see during the hack time, a continuous, duration where people are battling against each other, right? There are many challenges, many questions come to us during the show, and we along our team members solve them, and based on that what we have done, we have created these 4 areas, identified these 4 areas where mostly if we plan accordingly, right, then I think it will be good for everyone, and this can act as a good a strategy for maybe winning, because we wish that everyone participant has to reach to a final state, but let's see. So next slide please. Yeah. So as we talked, there are different phases, right? So first is or stages, I will say the planning stage, right? So that starts well early, and that is a very key. So if you go through these different points, I won't read one by one, but still no. So you have to plan your work in terms of how you are architecting, how you are designing, and what are the parallel activities that you achieve in that stipulated time. Uh, I mean, you may have a bigger idea in general, that is into it, but that might not be possible, right? So you have to plan accordingly that how you cover an MVP in that, and also make sure that your design is extensible, and you cover that. Hey, that we have covered this considering the time considered up to this point, but this how our architecture design is, which can be extended in real life, or in future, to extend this idea further. You need to plan our dev environment, right? Whatever text you need, right? You should plan it, some tools, some services that you are using, right? Whether it is free or paid, right? So Ruchi, I think we are not reimbursing anything, but if someone want to buy on their own, maybe some trial accounts, plan that early, right? Or even if you have some account, you can feel free to use those services, right? But you have to plan them early.
Now, if you can
Because,
also give this group like tips on where they can, like later on, maybe that'll be
yeah,
great.
right. So because what we have observed is like during the hack run that we call, right, a lot of time goes in identifying, creating the sample accounts, trial accounts with AWS Azure or maybe Google Cloud, right? So plan that earlier. Considering like the timing, you should have the distribute the work, right? You have to choose your team accordingly. Maybe there are multiple combinations. We won't go through the combinations, but the combination can be all our developers, maybe someone, one is tester, one is architect, maybe, right? So you have to plan accordingly. Use strength of your team members, right? So you get best out of them, right? Set up the smaller goals, right, which are achievable, right? And try to use the Moscow prioritization, right? uh, think through the idea, and make sure that whatever you are getting is aligned, right? And if you want to take some shortcut, I would say, considering the timeline, then you have to judiciously take a note of it and cover it in a presentation that will cover later. Hey, that because of the time constraints we are doing this. For example, you may be relying on some sensors, right? And the sensor is not available immediately, right? Or it's very costly. So you can think of creating a dummy sensor, like, which is emitting the value that you need. Maybe you use that data which is stored, which will actually emitted by sensor or push by sensor in some file based system, right? So that technical stuff will be very important, that you have to plan ahead of time, that how your demo gets a sense of a sense of completeness in that stipulated time. So that will add a lot of value. So that covers all of the major things that you need to do in the planning. Now, very important stuff is that hack, right? When that your actual countdown clock starts, right? There are many situations we found, like you're stuck, right? You are get confused. There are some questions, so don't waste the time. There'll be team there to help you. So you will get the contacts. Maybe some channel, Slack channel, or some phone numbers, or Hangout, right? So feel free to reach them immediately whenever you get some issues you face, right? Don't leave on the doubts, because that will just eat up your time. Plan your meetings frequently with your team members. So generally, prior to COVID, we used to have this in-room, in-house, hackathons. But now, and then there are dedicated discussion rooms where people used to meet. But now, since they work from home, mostly we'll be working from home. So you have to plan accordingly, right? How you and make sure that everyone is doing the progress. Everyone is like doing the work they are supposed to, right? And make sure that everyone is working in the MVP, or they are aligned, because there are always some chances, like if we are not following, then at the end of the hack, it's may disqualify in terms of the juries, because they may say, hey, your idea was good, but your implementation has moved away from the theme. So you have to make sure that whatever work is getting covered stays aligned with the theme that we are or you are using. Next slide, please. Yeah. As we talk, like the important part aspect will be some of the libraries, technology that you're using, right? Maybe you're using some blockchain, maybe you want to use some AR kit, some VR, some simulators, etc., right? So plan the tech stack in advance, right? What are the libraries you're using? If you are want to some DIY, maybe there is some algorithm which you cannot get off the shelf, right? So plan it accordingly, right? And cover it in your design, right? What algorithm you are choosing, how it would work, right? Any cloud API you are requiring, right? Any paid, as we said, you have to play it at once, because it eats up a lot of time. Last thing is the presentation, because all your efforts of 30 hours would be considered in that last 5 minutes. It's very important, right? So you have to plan the slides or the presentation well ahead of time. So maybe general observation is that you should do it around 3 to 4 hours prior to the hack end. And maybe the tip here is would be like some of when someone from your team should start doing maybe a draft, and then everyone should contribute the thing. So what we should cover, right? So you should cover crisply about the theme, what is the problem statement, what is the solution, what is the business value, what is the innovation, tech stack, and of course a demo. Now a demo, there are multiple ways here. If you want to show a demo, you can show over this screen sharing, or as a backup, it's always better to have video recorded of your demo within that time frame, right? So you can use your mobile phones or maybe tablets, whatever you have, or SLR cameras, record it, and make it a part of the because at runtime demo, where you want to like capture live video, may not work always because of bandwidth issue or connectivity issues. So you may lose up those things, because demo working demo is very important. Who should be the presenter, right? Obviously we want everyone to present, but we always know practically everyone may not be good orator or a good speaker. So identify strength of individuals. Everyone has to contribute for sure, so plan accordingly. Focus on the important feature. Don't waste time on explaining most of the ideas and all this. You have to plan where I should put a more stress, because if out of 5 minutes you are just explaining the idea and then no demo, then that will not work out. As we have been talking, demo is very important. We had seen that from last so many years, mostly wherever there's the working demo is the winning team always, and the demo which really shows that end-to-end concept, right? Maybe it is POC or working has always helped, and juries prefer to or love the demos, working demos, because that allows them to immediately connect dots between what is the ideation, what was the visualization, now how we can see in front of this, right? And if there are some parts in the demo which you are not covered because of time limit, right, you have to clearly articulate and explain, right? That's another key. And for last point, should I covered already, like you have to plan the timing ahead of time for the presentation. And I think for the code part, right, so I think we'll be providing some space. Google, Ruchi, are we providing the Google Drive for uploading the code, or GitHub stuff?
Yes, Ninad, we'll be using the drive. Unless Hack2skill team has another repository that they want us to use, we'll go with the
Right.
drive, Ninad,
So,
like every year.
right. So you'll have to also plan that you upload those code. As we said, we'll be taking a quick look at it. It not be a line-to-line code review for such, but you'll have to just make sure we'll have a team associated with these things, and they will do a quick eagle-eyed review. I would say, where they'll just make sure, yeah, this is actually not just a recorded video. There was code behind it, right? So, and as Ruchi mentioned, all API and everything remains with you. So
Yeah.
that's it from this. Yep. So, any questions we can take, right? Or Ruchi, you want to?
Yeah, we're. Let's hack. I want to stand. I want to stop sharing now. And Ninad, thank you. Nitin and Ninad, thank you. One thing, I don't know if there is a lot of goodness in what both of them have told. I think I was also listening intently. I've listened to Digiverse a lot of times, but a lot of goodness. Ninad, especially you have shared some really good hacks on hack. You shared really good
Yeah.
hacks on how do you do well on a hackathon.
Yeah.
Where do you pick and guys, this is where you can ask your questions on pretty much everything. Where do you get the technology from? Where do you get information from? You can connect with all three of us on LinkedIn later on. We can route you to the best person. Send us your questions. Happy to answer. I do see there are quite a bit of questions. Tanisha, have you gathered, or can I just pick?
Yes.
Okay, there are some questions. Tanisha, can we answer these? Pick these one by one?
Yes. So, do you want me to pull it over to the screen one by one, or are you going to pick the questions randomly?
Yeah, you can actually bring it over to the screen. Also,
Okay.
I will call it out. Ninad and Nitin, please back me up. But I'm going to try short
Yeah,
at this.
I think we can bring it
I
up.
might
Yeah, I think we can bring it up on the
Yeah,
screen so it
Tanisha,
shows
bring
up
it
on
up. Yeah,
the
we all
drive as
can
well.
be on the same page. Entire prototype. Mohammed Faisal's question. If you can bring that question up.
Mohammed Faisal's question. Yeah. So, bringing it on the screen, it's here.
No, this one I think we already answered.
We answered
Talking
this.
about, do I have to create the entire prototype during the hackathon? Yes, Mohammed. You cannot bring something which has been built. There are ways for the jury to know that. These are CTOs of very reputed organizations, and they will in a jiffy know that if you've developed this in a. And Nitin and Ninadi were in the jury last time. When you guys leave the room, there is a deliberation that they do, and they know that you have done it or not done it in the 30 hours. So I would not bring something pre-done to the hackathon. Definitely, your idea needs to be developed in the 30 hours, and then the jury is going to question you on that. They're really going to ask you a lot of questions around that.
So the tip around that is, again, right, prepare for it well in advance, as Ninad said, right? So if you need APIs that are there, if you want to look at a cloud account that you want to use, make sure that those hiccups don't come during your 24 hours of actual hacking.
Yeah.
So
maybe you have to learn a technology. So spend time in learning that, right? For example, you want to use some technology which is new, maybe, right, or new framework that suits your idea. So you can spend time in learning that. Utilize the time for learning that.
So, we have a question from Shikhar Tyagi. He has asked this question twice now. I'll just bring it up to the screen. He asks, when speaking of the theme automotive, especially of digital cockpits, yes, it's here.
Yeah, we answered this right. We don't have any solution required, but if you feel that in automotive you can do significantly in digital cockpit area, which is, as I already mentioned, it's very recent and emerging trend today. We also seeing a lot of projects coming in that, a lot of work happening, not projects as such. So you can opt for that, and end-to-end is not required, is required, but we have to see that can we really do end-to-end 30 minutes, 30 hours. So answer is no. So even though you can project a end-to-end requirement, end-to-end idea, but you can implement some logical part of it which clearly depicts that okay, this is the bigger picture, but out of this is what we have implemented, and this is how it can be extended to reach to the end goal. That is sufficient there.
Thank you,
I
Nina,
think
for
there is a
answering
question
that
about, is
question.
the hackathon online or offline? I guess the question is, it is all on that same day, and then there will be lot of inputs that is coming in from the hack wizards as well as the organizing team through the whole day. But essentially, you're going to be developing it in a DIY fashion, right? And make sure that your output finally is going to get uploaded onto the drive and so on. That's how the mode will work.
So it's all online, Nidhi. Right now, Nidhi has asked that question, but I'm getting an idea, Nitin, as we talk, that why don't we get our three winners to fly down to one of our offices or visit one of the offices and give them an office tour? So I'm making a commitment
Absolutely.
on a live YouTube chat, but that's fine. We can live up to our commitment, and we'd love to get you offline with us. So Nidhi, try to win so that we can all meet in the office in the GlobalLogic campus one day. And my team, please take this note back. Devaj and Renessa, you're going to kill me, but let's plan for the first top three winners. We'll do an outing with them in Pune or Nagpur or anywhere else. Ninad this will host us in Nagpur. Ninad.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. There is a question from Madhur Mishra. After submitting, how do I get to know I am selected? Hack2skill team. You have to answer this question.
Yes, so when you've submitted your idea and when we shortlist the top 50 team, we'll definitely be communicating the same to you over mail. So keep an eye on your mail. You'll get all the necessary information over there. So no need to worry, we'll inform you if you're selected.
Tanisha, can you put Priyanka's question on highlight? Very good question. How to connect
Yes.
with hack wizards, or we can connect with mentor while submitting ideas. So Priyanka, thank you for asking that. We have a very eminent group of, we're proud about our technology team and we're happy to extend it to all of you. So the top 25, we will connect you to your hack wizard in advance. You will be connected with them over calls, over it's a very interactive group. So if you make it to the top 25, we're going to connect you with a mentor. If you want to get a mentor while submitting the idea, write to Hack2skill team. They will connect you with a mentor or a wizard. So please write to them or connect with them, and they will connect you with a wizard. GlobalLogic mentors are going to be mentoring the top 25 teams. We are happy to even come and mentor somebody for the idea if needed. You got to raise your hand and say you need help, and we are happy to help you. So you need to come, reach out. Please reach out.
Thanks, Ruchi. So now our participants know what they have to do in case they have a doubt.
Thank you, Priyanka. Rex Beck has written, what if my solution is not in under any theme or track? Can I submit it? I'm sorry. We're only going to take track submissions this time. Rex Beck, we want you to be in one of the tracks or themes for us to evaluate you. So, yeah, we'd want to definitely, Okay, Mohammed Faisal Jinnah's question on highlight, please, and Ninad and Nitin. I can't even read it, so you guys have to answer it, okay?
It's long. We have to bring it up on the screen as well, I think.
It's long and it's techie,
It's
okay?
here.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great to know that. I think that you're really looking at creating robotic arms and so on. Now it's a little bit of a combination question. So if you really see that this is something that a next version of this is something you can do during the 24 hours and be able to really create an idea that you can demo out, absolutely bring it up during the 30 hacks part. But outside of that as well, in terms of how do you want to engage further with us? Absolutely. You may have already seen that we are now part of the Hitachi ecosystem. and industrial and manufacturing is a core business for us. So if we see that there is definite potential in terms of adding these out, we can definitely talk on a separate thread. But specifically on the 30 hacks part, again, I come back to my point. Identify in 5 minutes what exactly you can actually demo and what you can actually showcase as a solution. So that is really what your boundary.
So, Mohammed, your simulation of that, I think, will be good enough for us to for you to communicate to the jury. And like Nitin said, just be very, very sure of what you put your hands into and how much you want to do at this point. And Ninad has done this hands-on. So if we see you in the hack, or if you want, you can connect with Ninad on LinkedIn and ask him more questions on how to do this. Ninad, I'm going to sell off your LinkedIn ID today.
Yeah.
Completely sold. Okay. Tanisha, did we miss any questions?
I'm just checking that. So there are some general questions, not very techy. The people are actually really excited to know, are there any other opportunities and rewards other than the cash prizes? I see 2 or 3 questions about
See,
that.
there are a lot of, like I said, there is a lot of engagement. There is, thank you guys. There is a lot of, like we said, we are going to send goodies to everybody who's making it to the top 50 nomination. We are, and like I said, I've also called out Red Bulls and coffees and caffeine and T-shirts and chick-ons and whatnot. Apart from that, you always have an opportunity to come and work with us. We're always looking for great talent. So again, if you're looking, if we don't want to make this a hiring hack, but if there is anything like an opportunity, I would call that an opportunity to work with a great organization. And apart from the cash prize, if you want to work with an organization with a great culture, with amazing colleagues, with very, very talented technical folks, I definitely look at GlobalLogic. So if you consider that as a reward or an opportunity, always happy to look at great talent, always happy to talk to you guys. Again, you can reach out to any of us. But yeah, that's another add-on I can talk about, Tanisha, apart from what we are doing on the hackathon.
Thanks, Ruchi. I think that answers Pradyuman's question. He had asked that if there are any job opportunities with this hack. So, Pradyuman, now you know what other opportunities do you have, and
we have job opportunities all the time. We have hundreds of open positions, right? And Nitin is smiling because Pradyuman, we don't know what your stack is, or what is your what is the technology you work on. But please get in touch with the careers page on LinkedIn, or you can write to the Hack2skill team and they'll connect you with us if you're actively looking for a job, and we'll be happy to pass your profile on, guys. So yep. Are we allowed to have pre-compiled resources to use in 30-hour time? Ninad?
Answer is yes as well as no. For instance, if you need some sort of model, etc., or some resource which takes a lot of GPU and other things which cannot be done or arranged in a 30 hours, their answer is yes. But if it is resource, if you are called as a code and other things, then its answer is no, right? So you have to understand what that actual resource means, right? Because compilation is code, compilation also resource, for example, right? But if I interpret this resource as some sort of an entity, right, like an image or some sort of AI or some sort of a model, right, then I think that can be done, that can be allowed. But you have to clearly mention in your idea that, hey, these are things, because see, in 30 minutes there are many 30 hours, there are many constraints, especially so if you want that something I'm picking up and then build on top of that, right? So anyone will try to understand and try to know what was in the compiled resource and what you have developed. That waiting will be done there.
And this is a great example of how you can connect with the hack wizards for the top 25 who are coming in, right? So these are the type of questions you can clarify at the start itself, so that you don't get derailed while you're doing it. I think there was some. Yeah, I think there were a couple of questions from Nithi Mahinder Rai. What is the format of submissions? Can I submit an idea other than the given themes? I think no, the themes are fixed. So themes and convergence is the overall part. Format of submissions, I think we've already covered. It is a presentation that you do as part of your 5-minute demo, and that contains all the aspects that are part of it, and all of it is available, I guess, on the Hack2skill site itself in terms of details on how it should be submitted.
Yes. Thank you, Nitin. So I think we've pretty much covered every question. Some of them are repetitive, so there's no point in answering to that. Yeah, I think people are, apart from the general question, people are really excited to know which comedian is coming to raise the event. So that is something people are really excited to know.
We have no idea. Not Nitin, Ninad. I also don't know. This is the. Sorry, guys. No idea. I think it's not Gaurav Kapoor this time, is all I can tell you.
Great. So now if the participants have something to look up to, stay tuned for all the updates, is all we can say. Yes. So,
Yeah.
Ruchi, I think we've covered all the questions. Now the question is being left. So, yeah.
Awesome. Tanisha, we have another webinar, I think next webinar lined up next weekend again. So, guys who think of more questions and think of more things that you want to ask about, we'll have another webinar next weekend and we'll try to talk more. Maybe we can give you the comedian's name then. Who knows? So, yeah. So, we'll love to chat with the group again, Tanisha. Thank you for having all of us. Are we good to wrap up, Tanisha?
Yes, yes, Ruchi. Thank you so much for joining us on a weekend, especially all the participants as well as you three. Thank you on behalf of our team, and we really look forward to interacting with you guys and with all the participants.
Look forward. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank you,
hack.
everyone. Bye bye.
Let's
Let's
hack.
hack.
Bye.